Good morning, Year 3, and welcome to your next English lesson. We're going to be looking at using capital letters and full stops correctly over our next couple of lessons. First of all, I've written 3 words on the board. Splashed, glanced, which means like looked, and blew, as in you blow out the candles. Can we use each of these words in sentences? So can we write 3 sentences, each sentence using one of these words? And just remember to check that we've punctuated those sentences correctly and check that our writing makes sense. So pause the video for a minute and see if you can put each of these words into a sentence and check those sentences carefully. And I'll add 1 sentence to the board. Welcome back, Year 3. Sorry if that's a little bit small. I've just written, Molly blew out the candles on her cake. A nice simple sentence, but I've made sure I've used my full stops. I've correctly punctuated it. It makes sense. I have a capital letter for the name as well. I look forward to seeing what you've done there. At the top of your worksheet today, I'll just show you at the top. There are 2 sentences I have written. And I've actually written those 2 sentences out on the board here. So we can do that bit now. The girl did not know where she was going. It sounds okay, but there are 2 mistakes in that sentence. If you think you can correct that sentence and find those 2 mistakes, pause the video now and try to write that sentence out correctly. There are 2 spelling mistakes. If you are still unsure, keep watching and I'm going to underline the 2 words that need to be corrected. So if you think you can do it without me showing you, pause the video now. If you want a little bit more help, just keep watching. The girl did not know where she was going. Those are the 2 words that need to be corrected. They need to be changed. So now I've given you that extra clue. Now everyone can pause the video if you haven't already, and you can try and correct that sentence and I can add the correct answers to the board. Welcome back, Year 3. So this word know was the wrong type of know. We needed one where you know the answer. K-N-O-W. So that was just a spelling mistake, and it was the same with the next word. This word actually says were, but we wanted to write the word where. That's why I've written the word where underneath. Often were and where can be confused sometimes. So well done if you noticed that. We'll do the same thing for the second sentence. It should say, it's our turn to play there, said the boy. So it should say, it's our turn to play there, said the boy. There are again 2 spelling mistakes. If you think you can find those spelling mistakes, pause the video now and you can correct that sentence. If you are still unsure, keep watching and I'll give you a clue. So I've underlined the 2 words that need to be corrected. So now everyone can pause the video and try to rewrite that sentence correctly, keeping everything else the same but changing the spellings of those 2 words. See if you can do it. Have a go. Welcome back, Year 3. The first one was a tricky one. It should say our and not our. That's often one that might catch people out. Very well done if you noticed that and spelt our correctly. And finally, this is there, but there are different types of there. The there we wanted to use is the there where we're talking about a place over there. And that is spelt like this, T-H-E-R-E. Probably the spelling of there that you're most familiar with. Very well done if you found both of those. Today, we'll be mainly looking at using our capital letters and full stops correctly. I've written a sentence on the board, and maybe you can try and correct it. I'll just read it for you. Peter did not feel well. He wanted to go home. Peter did not feel well. He wanted to go home. It makes perfect sense, but I haven't punctuated it correctly. Do you think you can pause the video and either just work out where those full stops should go, or even write out the sentence correctly? Have a go. Peter did not feel well. He wanted to go home. Pause the video and I'll add the answers to the board as well. Peter did not feel well. That is one sentence. So I put a full stop and then remember to continue the next sentence with a capital letter. He wanted to go home. Often we may write 2 or 3 sentences and we won't realise we've missed out full stops. If there's a pause in that sentence, that's probably where a full stop should go. We either often need a full stop or a joining word, a word to join those 2 sentences together, like and, but, or so, which we'll discuss a bit more next lesson. The next one is also a common mistake we see sometimes. Capital letters. James saw Sam and Alice at the park. Can you correct that sentence? James saw Sam and Alice at the park. Pause the video and try and correct that sentence for me. There were 2 capital letters missed and the full stop at the end. James saw Sam and Alice at the park. You just have to remember, every time we write a name, we need to use a capital letter. So for today, I would like everybody to correct the sentences at the top, which we will have done as we went along today. Correct the next 6 sentences and rewrite them on the lines, trying to make sure you work out where those missing full stops and capital letters should be. If you finish all of that, there are 4 extra sentences at the bottom that can be corrected, checking carefully for names as well as full stops. And if you finish all of that and you still have time, sentence number 4, you can continue that story for the next maybe 4 or 5 lines, trying to make sure you're using those full stops correctly and maybe even adding some nice description. So these 6 sentences to be written out correctly, and the next 4, you can just use the next page in your book for those. And then if you still have time, you can then continue number 4, the story for number 4, for maybe 4 or 5 more lines. So lots of work to do, but remember, I will be available on Google Meet where we can discuss the answers. Please come on to Google Meet, even if it's just to check in with me. And remember to keep sending that work to me once you have completed it. I'm getting lots of lovely work, so very well done, Year 3.